Manchester United have beaten West Ham 2-1 in what was actually a very convincing win in the first pre-season friendly of the tour. Elements of that game reminded me of our final game of the season versus Aston Villa, where the wing-backs were high, the press was there, and I have to say, the pressing, the intensity, the energy from Manchester United today was the best I'd seen it in a while. So in today's video, I'm going to break down 6 or 7 things we learned from today's game. Who was the standouts, what we noticed. The only real negative for me from today's game, because there's a lot of positives, was more that when we took these players off for the last 25-30 minutes, we then just kind of went flat and there was nothing in that last half an hour. But I'm basically just going to be basing this game off the first 65 minutes because this is the starting 11. This is probably the team that Amron's going to play. This is what he sees as a strong 11, and what we got from them was very good. Of course, we need to improve the depth. Of course, we need a few new signings. But the big standout for me was Mainoo and Ugarte in midfield together. You know, there's always been questions, can Mainoo and Ugarte play in midfield together? But it worked today. It was absolutely fantastic. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Cunha. I want to talk about Dorgu, Yoro. Yeah, there's a lot I want to talk about, so let's dive into it. Before we go in on any individual players, let's just talk about the energy and pressing from Manchester United. The 60 minutes of that game, the pressing, the energy, the amount of times that West Ham was struggling to play out from the back. You know, the amount of times I've watched us struggle to play out from the back and be so infuriating to watch. We were doing that to West Ham. We were doing what teams have done to us to West Ham. The way that Ugarte would go and win back the ball, and I think Ugarte is better as an 8 than a 6. When he's higher up the ball, pressing players, winning back the ball, he was fantastic. Mainoo was in there. Højlund was running the channels really, really well. I thought Højlund looked very sharp for Højlund. Of course, we need better than Højlund. We need improvements, but he was sharp. It was a good performance from Højlund, I think, in terms of his dribbling, in terms of his hold-up play, in terms of his passing as well. But it was the energy from United, the 65 minutes of relentless energy levels. The pressing was coordinated. Cunha, who Sky Sports showed stats that he walks around the most, pressing people, showing he doesn't walk like Sky Sports were making out. United were winning the ball high. We were literally pressing them so aggressively. And the movement and the energy levels from United, it was like watching us on 2 times speed. I think one game a week could really benefit us next season because these are the energy levels Amorim wants from United. These energy levels made a difference, and we were pressing and we were working so hard, and we kept up for 60 minutes, and it was fantastic. And I absolutely love that aspect of the game. But let's talk about player performances. So as I said, I think Mainoo and Ugarte were the standout. I think Ugarte was the best player in the first 45 minutes, but across the 60, I think Mainoo, Ugarte, I didn't notice him as much in the second half. I thought Mainoo, wow. I thought Mainoo was absolutely incredible today, guys. I was really, really impressed. But weirdly, there's been questions over does Mainoo and Ugarte work and all of that, but it worked today. Amrin found a way to make it work. And I think Mainoo being in physically better shape has obviously got a huge part to play. Mainoo was just a lot physically better, and you could see that. But Mainoo's technicality is needed in that midfield. Mainoo's ability to keep the ball, resist the press is needed. Ugarte's ability to win the ball back. You can see, players that people have had questions over are Mainoo and Ugarte, but in today's game, you could see the importance of that. Mainoo was everywhere. He was supporting build-up. He was dropping deep. He was making the late runs when needed. Basically leading the press at times, making these passes, doing all of this. And then the pivot was just working well. Ugarte was winning the ball. He was giving Mainoo a bit of license. Ugarte was there running and pressing like mad, cleaning up danger, winning the ball, progressing the ball. Ugarte is not someone that can get the ball and do it on the half turn and progress in a deep build-up, whereas Mainoo is. But it worked today, actually. I think it complemented it quite well. I thought the intensity and everything behind the press was good. But I just thought Mainoo was excellent today, passing in build up, helping Ugarte. It was working well. Final third runs. As I said, I just felt that everything was really good. The pressing, the work, and I thought Mainoo was everywhere. Mainoo was running everywhere. Ugarte was picking up really good positions as an 8, really pressing, really being disruptive. I just thought the way that the midfield worked today was really good. And I think my biggest concern has been around the midfield. And I'm not going to go off one pre-season game and say, oh, we don't need a midfielder, this is our solution. That would be ridiculous to say that. We could see from the subs and when people came off, we clearly need depth and everything like that. But I do look at that game and go, oh, we need a midfielder still. I still believe we need a midfielder, but we're seeing something there. And I like that it worked. Now I want to talk about Lenny Yoro. Wow. Guys, Lenny Yoro, wow. Maturity beyond his age, really good in build up, really good in 1v1 duels. That long switch diagonal pass from Lenny Yoro in the first half, incredible. I want to see more of that. The way he was shifting play, the way he was playing out from the back, but also the way he makes those recoveries. Second half makes a really good run, recovery tackle, wins it back for United, plays the pass. The way that if you get with Lenny Yoro 1v1, he's got the legs, he wins back the ball, he makes recoveries, he runs from behind, he's fast, he's quick, he's agile. Lenny Yoro has the much needed pace we need in our centre backs. The way he can cover danger, cover the wide channels. But then when he's on the ball, he can just dribble out with the ball. He could just carry out with the ball so confidently. It's just brilliant to see. And I generally believe in Lenny Yoro with £100 million talent. I generally believe Lenny Yoro will be £100 million talent. There's players that I think at United, I've been a bit unsure about, but I'm like, okay, I like the player, I think they're good. But Lenny Yoro is one of those players that I'm like, unless we ruin him, he's £100 million player. I just think he's so good. I think we've got a generational player in him. I want to talk about Cunha. I thought Cunha was good. I like Cunha. I think that the way he always demands the ball, wants to make things happen, wants to dribble, I really like. So let's talk about Cunha. So my notes on Cunha was that I think he played between the lines really well. He picked up the pockets. He linked well with Bruno. I think he did a really good job playing between the lines. I liked that he always wanted the ball. I liked that he was making smart runs. He wants the ball to feet. And I think sometimes United were trying to play ahead. And I think, as he learns and plays with the squad more, there will be improvements there. But the movement, the demanding the ball, the pressing, the work rate was really good. Him and Bruno seemed to have a good understanding. He was going into the game. But what I like about Cunha is when he gets the ball, he's ready to drive, he's ready to dribble, he's ready to carry the ball forward, he's ready to make an impact, he's ready to make things happen. And that's one of the things I really like about Matheus Cunha, a player that gets the ball and isn't just going to pass it backwards or sideways. I remember when we brought in Jadon Sancho. I was so excited we brought in Jadon Sancho. I really wanted Jadon Sancho. And then I just remember him passing it backwards, passing it sideways. And it was just so infuriating at times, the backwards and the sideways passing. But today, we get someone like Cunha, a winger, that isn't going to pass it backwards, isn't going to pass it sideways. He's going to get the ball, be direct, dribble, want to do a bit of skill, want to make things happen. And I absolutely loved seeing that. He's got a spark, he brings something into the game, and he's got a creative presence, and I think we'll see more from him. I'm excited to see him Mbumo as well. Other talking points, I thought Dorgu was brilliant. I think he had Todibo on toast there. I thought Dorgu was fantastic. My stocks are in Dorgu for next season, honestly. I think he's going to have a fantastic season. He's physically good, he's technically good, he's raw, and he's still not the complete product. And I think that people were unnecessarily going in on Dorgu last season. I think we made Dorgu as a January signing after being crap, and people just thought Dorgu was just going to come in and change everything, and that wasn't the case. You can't really, and I think there was a bit too much expectation on a young kid last season that came in mid-season to our worst ever side. But you could see it with Dorgu. There is a player there. There was a talent there in Dorgu. He was getting up. He was making an impact. He's not really good physically. He combined well with the midfield runners. I think him and Cunha could set up a good relationship. I thought Højlund was better. I thought Højlund showed a lot of improvement. He was a lot sharper. I think that's one of the most sharp I've seen Højlund in maybe a year. And people were saying, oh no, Højlund was rubbish, Højlund was rubbish. Look, I'm not saying keep Højlund. I'm not saying we don't need a striker. Look, Højlund could have scored 2 goals today. But I think in terms of when you watch Højlund versus Chelsea, the fact that he gave the ball away more times than he made passes, and you watch Højlund today doing a few flicks, making a few passes, holding up the ball, winning corners, doing a few dribbles, making runs, getting the shots off, it was a better display from Højlund, and we can only judge what's really in front of us. But I thought this was one of Højlund's best displays, and I'm gonna give him credit for that. Obviously, Bruno being Bruno, scoring 2 goals, converting the penalty, the finish for the second goal was fantastic. He missed a one-on-one. He should have scored it. 2 minutes later, fantastic finish. But again, the Mainoo recovery, Mainoo in there with the recovery was key. But United's press, winning back the ball high, was leading to so many high turnovers, leading to so many high opportunities, which worked well. And I think Bruno just did well. So yeah, just to conclude, I think we were seeing bits of Amorim ball. I think we were seeing lots of positives. I liked seeing the number 10s dropping deep, the midfielders, going wide and covering space, the fullbacks playing high. Bowen scored a fantastic goal. There's not really much we can do. Bowen has that individual quality. Maybe the midfielders were a little bit too far forward. Maybe the defence stepped a bit too far up. But it was a fantastic goal from a fantastic player in Bowen. Maybe Bayendier could have done better there. Bowen's a fantastic player. I honestly think 2-1 within the 63rd minute when those players went off was a flattering scoreline to West Ham, because I think we were 3-4-1 performance that was. And I think, there's concerns of how we were quite dominant and we got one open play goal in the end. I'd like, Aston Villa in this West Ham game, very dominant, but, we were struggling to get that breakthrough early, and I'd like to see more goals, of course. But I thought the tempo was good. I think the tempo was what it was from Man United. It was absolutely excellent. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.